Hello friends, welcome to our video series of learning programming in some different way. This is our fourth video of this series, and in this video we'll be starting off with the design of our login panel and authenticating an admin for registering a student into the system. So we have started our Apache and MySQL once again, so we can close it. Now, for those who are new to XAMPP and PHP, first of all, let me tell you what will be our working directory. As soon as you install XAMPP, so in our case we have installed XAMPP over here in C XAMPP, so our working directory will be htdocs. People who are working in WAMP server, they will be having cwamp www like, but for our case it will be czamp htdocs. Most of the projects will be storing out here, and then you will be calling the URL on the basis of it. Here you can create your own folder. So I've created a folder like YouTube, and in that our first project, as we have discussed, is on core PHP. So I've given it some name as student MIS core PHP to just ensure the spaces are not like spaces. Writing space is not a good uh, habit. So can create one folder. I've created one more folder and some few files over here. So this will be the working directory structure. So first of all, let us open this folder in our editor. So I'll go into Sublime, and something else is opened over here, so I'll say open. Let's close it, some problem occurred. So let's cancel it, open folder, and mine is YouTube, and I'll just select folder. So we're ready with our this one. Now I've already created an index file for us, so that I can spare more time rather for the PHP portion and rather than the design portion. But I'll just quickly wrap up what we have done in this page. It's a design page in which we have added some scripts of Bootstrap. So we have added CSS of Bootstrap basic, and then we have added a jQuery file, then we have added a bootstrapman so that we can use bootstrap classes to design our page. Then I have added a small style over here so that we can give a card shape to our page. In the body part, the first portion is the div, right? It's just naming the portal name and login panel. In the container, we are having a single div of column 6, that will be 50% of the whole page. And then in this we are having first field is email address, right? Second field is password, if you can see, right? So we are having password, and the third one is the input type submit, right? So we are going to be designing this page in a manner that we can authenticate a user in two manners. First of all is the basic orthodox username password authentication, and the second one is login with Google. So when we will be, so that is why the final div is actually showing an image with G plus, where later on we'll be clicking on and doing the authentication using our Gmail accounts. So let's access our page and see what we have designed. So this is this YouTube. I've just removed the space. So this is how our page gonna look. So this will be our admin panel login page, where user has to type in their email address and password and then click submit, and then we will be doing our authentication procedure. So for authentication, anyways we'll be needing the database also. So I'm just opening my PHP my admin for my database, and my database name is student information management. So let's keep it open. Now next thing is, first of all, to create a authentication procedure in PHP, you should be able to send your data to another page where the whole data can be processed for authentication purpose. And for that reason only, what I'm doing is I'm keeping his action as auth.php. We'll be making this file in a bit. So what is going to happen is, as soon as the user clicks on submit, he'll be redirected to auth.php with all these data here. So we have to give names so that we can catch over here. So we'll be giving name is equal to username, again here name is equal to password. Alright, so we'll be catching these names that we have given over here into our next page. That will be auth.php page. We are keeping method as post, which is naturally being used for any sort of authentication procedure, so that none of our data should be shown directly on the URLs. Otherwise it won't be good. It's naturally not a good habit to use get when you are doing forms. So we'll be using gets for some other purposes that we'll be seeing in the later bit of this project. So first of all, we'll be creating a new file, and let's save this file first of all as auth.php. Also we'll be needing a config file, so we'll be needing creating a config file, config.php. We'll be including this config file in our various pages. So let's first of all create our config files and do a basic database connectivity. So as we know, for creating PHP files you have to start off with this indentation as less than question mark PHP. To start off with this one, we'll be starting a session first of all, so that if we are using sessions, any page will be starting in everywhere, and we don't have to start the sessions in every page, because anyways we'll be including the config file in each and every page. So we'll be using this session start for all the pages using this config file only. Now to create a config file, you need 4 basic parameters. The first one is the host name. In our case is localhost, or any IP address if you are having. The second one is the username. My database username is root, and next is password. Mine is root again. And if you are not having password on your databases, let's say you have done some clean installation, so you won't be having any password, so it's not compulsory. You can keep it like this, and anyways it will work. And the next one is your DB name. So database name is student information management. So I'm having my DB name right now. So let's start off with our connection. So I'll say connection is equal to, we'll using MySQL function. As I said, we will be starting off with MySQL, and then we'll be switching over to MySQLi in our next series. So in MySQL, first of all you have to connect it. So MySQL connect, and it takes 3 parameters: host name, username. In the same series it should be, you should not change the series. So first of all you will be writing host name, username and password, and if some error occurs, you'll say that die MySQL _error. So it will stop the whole procedure and show the error. For the debugging, it is a good thing to do. If you're into the production mode, you should not be doing this, and you should be handling errors in different way. So if you have successfully done with the connection, if $con, then you need to select the database. So you will be saying MySQL _select DB, that takes the database name, that is DB name, right? And again over here you can say die MySQL error. So let's check it out whether our connection is done or not. If there will be an error, it will be showing over here. So we'll quickly go over here and we'll type some abstract data, and before that we have redirected it onto this one. So I'll be to start off with this one. I'll quickly write over here include, because it's on the same location I can directly include this file PHP. So I'll just see this one and see whether my page is working or not. So I'll say submit. Okay, there's an email validation, so I'll just keep it something like this. So it's not working for some reason. Let's see why. Okay, so it is connected to the database, right? Because there is no error over here, it is successfully connected to the database. Now we can start off with our proceedings. Now we are on this page of auth.php and I want to check it out whether my data has been received over here or not. So what can I do very easily is there are two ways of doing it. The most basic way of doing it is you take a variable like this, store your data, because you have received the data in post, so you will be using an associative array, a super global associative array as $_post. So you will be having this key as username and key as password. So let's first of all see if I have received the username. To print it I normally use echo. You can also use print if you want. So let's see. So we have received it, so there's no issue in that. Similarly, $password is equal to this one and password. So you have been both. So if you want to print it, you can see if we have received both the things. So we have also received the password over here. Yes, we have received the password over here. Another way of getting the data is just write over here extract and $_post. This is more favorable way, because in this I don't have to every time assign my $post to some other variable, and I can directly use the names assigned over here as the variable names over here. So again the output is same for this one and the output is same for this one, right? So I'm done with this one. So I have extracted the data. The next thing that I need to do is I need to create a query for authenticating my person. So I'll be saying select from admin, because the table name is admin. Select, I have to select star. Let's say select star from admin. Where now let's come back to our database and see the structure we were having. So first of all, admin, the username is one field, so we'll be saying user name is equal to $username and password is equal to. Now here comes a bit tricky part. If you remember, we have used MD5 to store the database, to store our passwords into the database table of admin. So you have to again convert the same string that is coming from the post data into MD5. We have to hash it again so that we can match the data. So we are having MD5 and we have hash password. I think the spelling is wrong that I've written over here. Yes, it should be like this, and I've written it incorrectly over here again as usual. Okay, so we're done with the query. Just to check my query has been written properly or not, I'll just echo this thing. Just a way of debugging, friends. So if you were to debug it, and you can see. So okay, let's see, we have not been able to hash it. So let's take this whole out and first of all hash it, or do it like this. Now it should be able to hash it. Yeah, successfully done. Right. Now next thing is that I need to run this query. So to run this query, I'll just put the whole data set in some variable, and I'll say mysql underscore query, and my query is $SQL. I'll just die it if it does not work correctly, if there is some syntax error or something, just to check if there any error occurs. So I'll say or die mysql underscore error. So we are done. Now when this query will be executed, the result set will be stored in $query variable. So when I need to check whether I received the data or proper authentication, so our logic will be working like, if both these conditions are true and we have created our database such like that username can only be unique over here and it should be returning only one row at a time. So what I will be checking is if mysql underscore num underscore rows. So let's change this one and I'll say it as result, so it makes more sense. $result is this. I'll say echo login success, else I'll say echo login failed. Okay, right. So let's check it out whether our logic works or not. So it says login failed because we have not entered the correct authentication parameters. So it should have been admin and admin. So let's see if it works. Okay, we have done a little thing, so let me change it for a while and I'll be keeping it as text for the time being. We'll change it later because we have added it as admin, so we have to change it. So anyways, admin submit, and now we are having login success. So this is what our authentication process is. Now what we need to do is to check if this is returned true, then we have to redirect it to a proper page. So let's say I'll be creating a new file and I'll be saving it as student_reg.php. So I'll be redirecting over here, and let's say I'll just say it over here that echo login success. So I'll be redirecting it as using header location student_reg.php. So what now will happen is it will be redirected to this page. So this header location is actually used for redirecting from one page to another page. Else what you need to do is you need to redirect it to the previous page, and our previous page was index.php. Also I would like to inform that page that there's some error has been occurred over there. So what I'll do is I'll create a session as $session error is equal to something like say 1. This means that if the session error exists, so we'll be having 1 and we'll be checking on this page. So let's check it out on this page over here. I'll be starting a PHP and I'll be checking if isSet function actually checks whether the variable is set or not. So we'll be checking whether our variable $session with the key error is set or not. If it is set, then I'll be just echoing the alert saying that in credentials were not correct. So I'll just alert wrong credentials, so that our user is informed that he has not entered the credentials correctly. So I hope this is working. There should not be anything else. The only thing you need to do, one more thing, is you need to start the session. So I'm starting the session here only, session underscore start, so that the session works. So I think this is done, and this is also done. So let's check it out quickly what happens now. So let's cancel this, start with our admin page. First of all, let us check if I enter something incorrectly, what will happen. So it says me wrong credentials, and if I enter the correct credentials, I press, and if you see, in the page has been student underscore reg.php login success. Now this will be the page which we'll be creating in our next video, that will be used to insert the data into the database of a student, and then we'll be follow with the other proceedings. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Thank you.